My name is Kyle and welcome to Caltech, yet another video of a Flappy Bird like video whereby a bird will be avoiding obstacles like this one. This is how you play it. You avoid obstacles, you hit one, you lose a life, and if your life goes to 0, the game ends. That is the game that we are going to create. Now, to start off, let's get the characters that we will need. So let's first delete the cat or the sprite cat. Then we are going to look for, let's use animals. We are going to use the parrot. And the next one, we are going to look for pedal. Pedal will act like the obstacles we are trying to avoid by moving the bird up and down. Then we are going to start with the bird, then we go to the pedal, then the backdrop, use any, but I will use blue sky. You can use any backdrop. Now let's start with the parrot. We prepare it first. The size will be, use size 30. There, use size 30. The pedal will work on it next. The parrot is okay. Then as you select the parrot, go to costume, ensure you have parrot A, parrot B, they'll be there to make it fly. Good. Then let's go to the pedal. After you click the pedal, we go to costume. Let's make it usable the way we want. You highlight all of it while the arrow is selected. Then you move it to face up, just like that. Then you can reduce it like that. Then move it a bit down, make it a bit large like that, something like that. There. Then we are going to change the color so that it's easily seen. So you click the fill bucket and you change the color. Let's use red. It's easily visible. There, red at the center. Then outside, let's use another color, that bluish for outside. The same color for the bird. That is the thing that it will be avoiding. Let's go to the last one, the backdrop. Click the backdrop here. After you click the backdrop, go to backdrops, then right click and you duplicate. Now you have blue sky 2, then change the name to game over. You change the name to game over. Game over. So you have blue sky and then game over, then blue sky, select it like that. Then we go to code, and in the parrot or blue sky, whichever you will select, but in the parrot, we are going to create 3 variables that we will need for the whole game. The first variable is, we are going to create a variable called score. We have score. Then we are going to make another variable called live. We are going to have live. Let's put there. Then we are going to make another variable called speed. Speed, let's put it at the center there. Then we are going to create the last variable called game running. So we are going to make a variable called game running. Game running, just like that. Then we deselect it. We don't need it on the screen. We deselect it. Now we are ready to start the whole game. Now the first thing we are going to do is we are going to the backdrop. Click the backdrop there. Then we are going to put, when green flag is clicked as the first one, we want to give it condition to ensure that the score, speed, game, and game running all have the same instruction when you begin the game. So when green flag is clicked, then the first one we are going to looks. In looks, we are going to switch backdrop to blue sky, the first one. When you click the green flag, it's gonna be the blue sky. Then the next one is you are going to set speed. Go to variable, set speed. Going to start with speed. So we are going to set speed to 4. That is the first thing. The speed at which these pedals will be moving from left to right for you to avoid them, we are going to set them at 4. Then the next one is set lives. We are going to have a set lives to 3. You'll need 3 lives while you begin the game. Then we are going to set running to 1. You are going to set running to 1. It means 1, it means the game is going on. 0, it means the game has stopped. So the game running will be 1. Then we are going to set score to 0. Anytime you are starting the game, your score will be at 0. So that is where we are, that one. Then the next one is we are going to use forever. So go to control, pick forever because we want it to go on without an end. And using forever, go to variable and put change speed by, we are going to change our speed by 0.2. 0.2. You can use any number, but the bigger the number, the faster it will be moving. 0.2. Then we are going to wait in control. We are going to wait 5 seconds. So speed will increase by 0.2 for 5 seconds. Now let's move on. So anytime I press the green flag, the speed is there, the lives are 3. That is the first thing. Then the next thing, we are going to go to the parrot, which will have a lot of codes to control. The first thing, let's make the parrot fly. So you are going to have, when green flag is clicked, is the first one. When green flag is clicked, then forever. Then we are going to use if, then else in the second one, on that one. Let's put that aside. Forever, we are going to looks, go to looks. Then we are going to switch costume to parrot A. Then we are going to wait some seconds. Let me put 0.10 seconds. Then we are going again to looks and pick switch costume to parrot B. Then again wait 0.10 seconds. 0.10 seconds. Then you can go to costume and see this one, parrot A, parrot B. These are the costume you are going to be switching very fast to give the simulation like it's flying. And then you press the green flag. There you can see the parrot, now it's flying. But now we need to use the space key. When you press the space key, it goes up. When you let go of the space key, it flows down with gravity. That is what we want to do to the parrot to ensure the parrot can fly. So let's move that up. So the next one we are going to use is to ensure the parrot can fly. So the first one will be when green flag is clicked in events. When green flag is clicked, just like that. When green flag is clicked. Then the next one will be go to X in motion. We are going to motion, then pick go to X and Y. Then X is -200. X is -200. Y will be 0. Y will be 0. There at the center. There is where, even if the bird will be there, if you press the green flag, the bird will go there. That is the first thing. Then the next thing you are going to put is, we are going to put forever in control. We pick forever because we want the game to go out without an end. Then inside forever, we are going to put 2 conditions, if then. One will be for the bird and the other one will be for the space key. We are one for the space key when it's pressed, one for the space key when it's not pressed. So we go to sensing. You pick if key space. If key space is pressed, what is supposed to happen if key space is pressed? You go to motion and you change up and down is Y. This one up and down is Y, as you can see in this arrow here. up and down is y, left and right is x. So change y by just 5. Change y by 5. And the next one is if you go to operators, if not, this one is written not. If not pressed, what is not pressed? Key space. If key space is not pressed, then we are going to do the opposite. Now we are going to change x by -5. So in motion, change not x, change y by -5, just like that. And when you press the green flag, you can see the bird falls down, but when you press the space bar, it flies up like that. So we are going to use those motions to avoid obstacles that will be moving left and right on our screen. That is the first thing. So let's stop there. So that is one end part of that code for the Flappy Birds. Now before we put more things, let's go put the codes for the pedal to enable the pedal to move left and right in our game. The pedal to move left and right in our game. So we go to pedal. The first thing we are going to use is when green flag is clicked is the first one to start our game. Then we are going to go to looks and hide. We are going to go to looks and put hide. So we are going to hide this block when you press the green flag, then duplicate it or create a clone of it. The clone is the one that will be moving, so that we keep on creating as many clones as we will need in the game. Then we are going to go to control and pick forever. Control and pick forever. Then inside forever, you are going to put if then, like that. If then is a conditional, they are called conditional block. Then go to operators and pick the one with is equals. So we are going to say if the game is running, and I told you when the game is running it's 1. If the game is running, you will create a clone of yourself, then pick random places to appear after some time. Those are the conditions. So you are going to variable and game running. If game running is 1, it means that the game is going on. If game running is 1, then you are going to create a clone of myself. So you go to control, and in control you are going to create a clone of yourself or the pedal. Then you are going to wait 1 second. So go to control again and pick wait 1 second, but you will go to operators and pick random. So you are going to pick random between 1 and 3 seconds when to appear as a clown. So this one will disappear, then another one will appear here after 1 or 3 seconds to make it as random as possible for you to avoid them. That is the first step. Now the second one is we are going to ensure, because right now the paddle will just disappear. So to ensure it appears, we are going to create when I start as a clown. So go to control, pick when I start as a clown, what is supposed to happen. The next thing is supposed to happen, you are supposed to go to X. So in motion there, go to X 240. So this one will be 240. Go to X 240, where to appear 240. X is left and right. 240 is somewhere here. So it will appear somewhere here, then come all the way here. X 240. Then for Y, you are going to operators and then pick random. Operators and pick random. So pick random -130 to 180. -130 to 180. -130 to 180. So that is where you want this one to appear after it becomes a clown. For Y is up and down. Anywhere between here, it can appear here, 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 or here. It will pick random where to appear so that you avoid it. Then the next one is you are going to show up. After you choose where to appear, you are going to show. You are showing up. Why? Because here you had hidden. So now the pedal will show up. After it shows up, you go to control and pick repeat until. We want to repeat until it goes all the way and disappears there. That is when we are going to repeat. So we are going to repeat until x, so put that one there, is less than, so go to motion and pick x position is less than, remember x is left and right. When it x position here, when it reaches here to disappear and appears again at the end. So x position is less than, as you can see there, the x position at that place here is usually negative 230. There is negative 230, but we are going to use negative 240. So x is less than negative 240. What is supposed to happen? We are going to change x by, so you are going to pick, change x inside there, change x in motion, change x by, go to operators, pick this one, the one with a minus, 0 minus variable speed, 0 minus speed, so it will be moving as fast as the speed that will be moving up here when it is appearing from right moving to left. Then again we want, when it misses, you miss it and it reaches here, something else will happen, which will be, you are going to change score by 1. So anytime you miss it and reaches here at the end, your score will increase by 1. That is the logic of the game. Then you are going to delete, you go to control, then you delete this clown so that a new one can appear. You don't get multiple scores, so that a new one can appear. So something like that. It's, they are appearing, your work is just to avoid them. The score is working, and the speed is increasing, and that is the whole idea of the game. But right now we need to ensure that anytime you touch the pedal or you fall down here, you lose a life, and the game will end if you lose more than 3 lives. You have 3 lives at the beginning. So for now we are going to stop, then we are going to go again to the, we are done with the pedal. Now we are going to work with the parrot, the remaining part of the parrot, so that we see how to work on the last part. So we go to the parrot, and with the parrot we are going to start with the first thing is, let me move that like that. We are going to start with the first one. When green flag is clicked, again in events, when green flag is clicked, a new one, then you are going to put forever in control, and you pick forever so that it can go on without an end. So you want, anytime the bird touches the pedal or the ground, you get a score of, you lose a life. So that is the whole idea, you lose a life. So if we need 2 conditions, those are conditions. If either is touching the pedal or touching the ground, you lose a life. So if you go to if touching, so it's in sensing. If touching the paddle or pedal, then we are going to broadcast the message. So in control, in events, we are going to broadcast the message hit. You click new message and you write the word hit, just like that. We broadcast the message hit when you hit the pedal. Also, when you move down here, so it's below y, when you move y here, when you move y, it's below what? Right now y is below 100 and negative 169. So when you go there, you also broadcast hit again. So that is the same logic you are going to use. So if y position is less than negative 180, so there, use operators, you pick less than, so, and you go to motion, you pick a y position. Yeah, that one. If y position is less than negative 180, then we are going to do the same thing in events, broadcast hit. Okay, broadcast hit, that is the same thing, you broadcast hit. Now we need to give now what is this hit, How is this heat relating to lives? That's what we are going to do. So we are going to put, when I receive heat, this heat there that you get when you hit the pedal and you hit also the ground, when I receive heat, what is supposed to happen? The first thing is we are going to use if then, and if then else. Both of them will work. So the first one, I'll just pick if then and if then else, and I show you how that comes into the game. If, remember the game, when the game is running, game running is 1. Okay, so if the first condition, if game running is equals to 1, so that is in operators, that one. Then variable, pick game running. Remember I told you game running, if it's 0 it means the game is over, if it's 1 the game is still going on. If game running is 1, then you are going to change life. This will happen if the game running is still 1. You are going to change our life by -1. That means we have hit something and the game is still running, the lives are still there, you lose 1 life. The other part is you are going to set the same place, you are going to set game running to not 1 to 0. Now you are going to set game running to 0 after you lose 1 life. Then go to X so that it appears again. Go to X in motion, that one. Go to X, -200 here, -200, and Y is, we are going to use a 10. Let's use 10. 200 and Y is 10. We need it to always appear there. When you hit something and you lose a life, it will always appear there again. You hit something, you lose a life, it will always appear there again to do it again. That is why we have put that there. Then we are going to go to control and pick wait 1 second, so that we wait before you start playing the game again. Okay, the bird will just disappear and appear there again. Whether you hit it here or up there, it will appear there again. Now the next part is the last if then. Now we have handled the if then of when you receive the hit message but your lives is more than 3. What happens when your lives are 0? You receive a hit but your lives are at 0. That is what we want to work on. So the first thing is what if we pick that one for greater. If life is greater than 0, this will happen if the life is less than if it's less than 0, this is what is supposed to happen, or when you hit something. Now if the lives are more than 0, okay, if in variable, if the lives are more than 0, then we will set game running to 1. That is the condition. Else we will broadcast the word game over. So you go to events and put broadcast game over. Broadcast game over. Remember, if the lives are more than 0, it means that the game is still running. So game running is 1. Okay, but if the lives are below 0, it means that the game is over, the game will end. That's why you have put broadcast game over. So that is what we have so far. Let's see, when we hit there, you get a life of 0, but it doesn't stop even if the life is 0. So let's put that condition now so that it stops when the lives are 0. Now in order to do that, we are going to go to the backdrop. Click the backdrop. We are going to add something here in the backdrop. Then the first thing we are going to add in the backdrop is when I receive game over. Okay, when I receive game over, we are going to set, so in variable we are going to set running to 0. Remember, game running to 0 means that the game is over. We are going to set game running to 0. Then you are going to looks and picking switch backdrop to game over. Then you are going to control and you stop all, so that everything stops and the game ends. So that is how it looks so far. You're supposed to avoid those obstacles. Let's see. Yeah, my score is increasing if I avoid them. The speed is in, but when you hit one, you lose a life and it appears down there. Again, when you hit another one, you lose a life. Now you have 0 life, and the game has stopped. Now, oh, I forgot something. We need to write here. You go to T, and we need to write something here so that you can know it changed. Let's write the word game over. I've selected the game over one. I did not change here. You put game over so that you know when it appears. There. So now we can go to code. There. When it falls, you lose a life. It's working. When you hit it, it says game over. And that is the game.